Diplomacy has been broken, treaties have been burned, and war has fallen upon us. Oh yes, it's the ultimate metal-munching spectacle to ever be seen. The first world champions. Teams from all corners of the globe have flown over in order to fight it out and take home the ultimate glory. But how can we decide on a world champion? Well, there's only one true test. Robot against robot in our special event arena designed specifically for events like this. And it's time for the ultimate carnage to get underway as we find out which machine is truly king of the world. And the lineup is as thusly: Chaos 2 from England with the flipper against the swinging sword of Broadsword from Scotland, the flipper of Freeway from Wales against the flipper of Tsunami and the Germans, the axe and everything else of Destructron from Australia against the lifting forks of SpongeBob from South Korea, the spinning blade of the Kiwis with Endgame against the flippers of Tomb of Despair from Egypt, Yono from Japan with the spinning blade against the Brazilians and Minotaur, the Irish with Dior against the axe of Hertz from the Czech Republic, Pulverizer, the Dutch champions from Holland against the swinging axe of Major Damage from the USA, and the South Africans with Crustation hoping to crush out the Canadians and Ziggy. From England, Chaos 2 Flipper. The nippiness and speed of Chaos 2 is going to be their advantage in this competition, especially when used with their CO2 powered flipper. It can flip machines clean out of the arena as we've seen before in the main competition, but there is a limited gas supply, it's easily shunted, there's a high ground clearance, and as we also saw in the competition, it has been known to break down a few times. From Scotland, Broadsword, Axebot. A giant sword for a weapon? That's what Broadsword's entering with to represent the Scots. It's a four-wheel drive machine, and it's pretty quick as well, but there is no self-righting mechanism aboard, meaning if this machine gets flipped up and over, that's basically it. They are out of the competition.
Roboteers, stand by.
Chaos 2 with the CO2 powered flipper, and Broadsword with the
3, 2,
big sword.
1,
Go.
And immediately swinging at the wrong time there, and that's a wrong time for Chaos 2. Well, use the front blade, I guess, as a battering ram, but there's a flip of Chaos 2, roly-poly, Broadsword, and there's another one, this time up and over. And now Chaos 2, another flip, and into the pit! Another very quick win for Chaos 2! Very quick, very fast, the Scots are out, England goes through with Chaos 2, and next up's the Welsh free wave against the Germans and Tsunami! From Wales, free wave, flipper. A CO2 gas-powered flipper and armored in thick titanium, meaning any of the bladed robots in this competition won't really be able to do much damage to it. Unless, of course, they hit the backside where there is a ground clearance and the wheels are a little bit exposed, or if this machine flippers too soon. I think Free Wave might just have this competition. It's got a chance. From Germany, Tsunami Flipper. It came runner-up in the German Robot Wars, but how will it do in the World Championships? Tsunami has a CO2 gas-powered flipper, and its armor is fairly strong, and I'm wondering, how well will it perform against a bladed robot? Any other machine, I know for a fact it'll stand a very good chance, but against a bladed machine like Yono, Endgame, or Minotaur, that's going to be very interesting to see, especially since it's fought Minotaur before.
Roboteers, stand by.
This would be an all-flipper affair with Free Wave
3,
and Tsunami.
3, 2,
1.
Go.
Free Wave being from Wales, Tsunami from Germany, and already have the advantage up and over this Free Wave. They can right themselves, but Tsunami is quick and can exploit the ground clearance. And right now, it's all Tsunami. The problem Free Wave's got here is they wheelie a bit when they first get off the mark. Like there, you can see there. But look at this, Blue Wave! Underneath it out the arena! Tsunami's gone! Wow, how about that? Look at this! Tsunami on top the entire fight! Get one flip though, Free Wave! And Tsunami's out, Free Wave through! What a stunner! The runner-up of the series are gone, they're out! Whales through! Next up, Destructron and SpongeBob! From Australia, Destructron, Axebot. Might have went a bit overboard with the weapons. You don't say! This machine, Destructron, is covered in 3 spikes on the sides, a rear circular saw, a front scoop with 2 very large spikes, and a fire axe on top. The machine is armored in 3mm aluminium, and it's pretty quick, but it's got a high ground clearance. And I'm not just referring to the spikes. From South Korea, SpongeBob Lifter. Everyone's favorite fry cook from Bikini Bottom, it's SpongeBob. This machine originally competed in Robot Power, contains 2 lifters. I don't think the team managed to finish off painting this machine. And, well, the lifters are going to be useful, as is the front wedge, which should help stop machines from getting underneath it from the backside, unless they get it from the side. But one downside is, the machine doesn't have a self-righting mechanism.
Robot ears, stand by.
SpongeBob with the lifter, and Destructron with the, well, the everything.
3, 2, 1, go.
All the top armor panel has come off of SpongeBob immediately. Oh, that's not really good, is that? That can give Destructron an advantage with that axe. Coming with the spike and scoop as well. Doesn't mean that axe of Destructron not really doing much. And is there a problem with the drive of SpongeBob? Well, here's the circular saw of Destructron. And I think SpongeBob are in real problems here. I really think they are. And if I'm honest, I think they're gonna lose in this first fight. That's what happened to them in Robot Power. Their first fight in Robot Power, they lost, and I think they're gonna lose here. The axe of Destructron, I honestly don't think that's really doing much. Well, that can work. It can stop you from getting stuck on your spikes, which is a bit of a design flaw. But now, SpongeBob being pushed towards the pit. And I do think this is the end of SpongeBob. The drive's gone. Or are they just given up? They realize there's nothing left for them. Doesn't really matter in the pit. SpongeBob's gone. And Destructron heads on through.
Cease.
Almost like they were given the victory there. SpongeBob out. Destructron go through. Next up, it's Endgame and Tomb of Despair. From New Zealand. Endgame. Spinner. Endgame enters the World Championship fighting for the Kiwis of New Zealand. Armed with a very dangerous spinning blade as well as interchangeable front parts, either a plow or wedgelets or the forks. It also has a self-righting mechanism, so if it is flipped up and over, it can self-right. So that's not really a problem, and if Endgame manages to win this, it'll be the 2nd World Championship title they'll be taking home, as they won another World Championship back in 2018 with a similar bot, Death Toll. From Egypt. Tomb of Despair. Flipper. Armed with a flipper at each side, Tomb of Despair hopes that this will give them a clear advantage. Which it might do, however there is a bit of a high ground clearance as well, and the side skirts are fairly simple to get underneath if you've got a low enough wedge.
Robot ears, stand by.
The classic spinner against the flipper.
3, 2, 1, go.
Immediately, the flipper fires way too early, and Endgame comes in now, and something's come off of Tomb of Despair. Now that's titanium armor, and there the sparks begin to fly. And I think there's a problem with Tomb of Despair! Where's the movement? There's no movement in them! I think Tomb of Despair is dead, and I think they died on the first contact! Well, that's a shame, isn't it? I thought they'd put up a pretty good fight, but no! The websites are coming off! Down the pit goes Tomb of Despair! And Endgame gets a rather seemingly easy victory!
Cease.
Over and out just like that! Tomb of Despair gone! The New Zealand boys at the Endgame are through. Next up, Yono and Minotaur from Japan. Yono. Spinner. The lovely artwork of which will lead you towards the lethal spinning blade of Yono. It's a four-wheel driven machine with exposed wheels at the back, though for the most part it's going to be pointing you head on, and it's very fast. This machine won't give you the chance to get around to the back, unless of course you manage to get at it with an extremely low wedge. From Brazil, Minotaur Spinner. And a veritable drum spinner in the form of a box robot. Minotaur enters for the rights of Brazil, and I honestly don't think it's going to have too much of a problem. The spinning drum is very, very dangerous and effective, meaning whatever it comes against, it will rip them apart.
Robot ears, stand by.
Two spinners, a vertical spinner, and a drum spinner. Yono and Minotaur.
3, 2, 1.
Both have exposed wheels, but look at this! Minotaur able to get under. Well, that's a Mexican standoff if ever I've seen one in Robot Combat before. But look at this though! Minotaur pushing Yono, and Yono up and over. Now, who is more in trouble? I think Yono right now! We've seen how effective Minotaur can be, but now Yono coming at the side! And look at that, the wheel's gone! One of the wheels is gone for Minotaur, and there's a problem with the drive, look at that! Well, I think Minotaur... well, Minotaur... well, that was inevitable, I think! What a fight! Minotaur's got Yono What on earth was that?
Cease.
I think luck on Yono's part. Look at this. This is all it took. One side-on assault. Off went a wheel. It split, and the control for Minotaur was gone, jumping and jittering across the floor. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Bouncing over the pit before driving into it. Definitely one of the more interesting fights of this competition. We may see more, who knows, but it's the Brazilians who are out, the Japanese go through. Next up, Dior and Hertz. From Ireland, Dior Spinner. Hoping to do the Irish justice, Dior enters with its spinning flywheel. The invertible machine does have exposed wheels, so if a blade hits those tires, they are gone. But the main problem this machine has is that if it's flipped up onto its face, it cannot self-right, and they are done for, as we have seen before in their fight against Snowstorm in the competition. From the Czech Republic, Hertz, Axe Bot. A giant axe and car steering armed with an extra little front blade, Hertz hopes to poke and stab and disable all who dare come before him. The machine is armored in polycarbonate, so that's not really going to help it when it comes against the bladed machine. Plus, because of the car steering, it does have a wide turning circle, and as we've also seen, when it fires their axe, it can get stuck if it's not hit a machine, and there's a bit of a slow response.
Robot ears, stand by.
The fur-brain Dior and the axe bot of Hertz.
3,
2,
2, 1.
Go.
Now that spinning disc is very powerful. We saw it destroy Mortis, and it's opening finally in the main competition, and over goes Hertz. They can right themselves. Oh, and flung into the air goes Kilohertz from that attack. Now, will Kilohertz... Well, they're trying to... Oh, look at the sun flare. Diotor very much... I think Diotor's just bullying Kilohertz at this point. They'll need to be careful with the pit as well. And up and over again. Kilohertz right here to Diotor. Diotor's gone! What happened there? They're at the arena! Well, I didn't see that coming! But what happened there? Kilohertz! There! Okay! Down they go! They've driven into the pit! Great! What happened? It's as if Kilohertz rights himself here, and all of a sudden, Diotor's yeeted out the arena! What? First, Minotaur loses the wheel and driving him in the pit. Diotor is now yeeted from the arena. What's gonna happen to Team Pulverizer and Major Damage? From the Netherlands, Pulverizer, Spinner. Winners of the second series of the Dutch Robot Wars, Pulverizer enters for the rights of the Netherlands with its massive flywheel and two-wheel drive system. It's an extremely destructive machine. We never got to see much destruction in its opening fights in the main competition. Hopefully, maybe we'll see something now, unless what happens to them in the main competition happened here, where they break down. I'll bet you anything I've jinxed it. From the USA, Major Damage, Axebot. A 6-wheel driven tank bot armed with a front scoop, skeletal head, yeah, that's not creepy at all, and a overhead spiked axe. It's a 6-wheel driven machine trying to resemble a tank. I don't know why they didn't go with tracks, but it's a very fast, which is a very plus, and it's got a very effective weapon. But the downside is its own speed, actually. It can be a bit too quick for its own good.
Robot ears, stand by.
The Dutch Spinner of Pulverizer, and the Yanks with their X machine, Major Damage.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Who will come out on top? Haven't got to see much from that weapon of Pulverizer, and Pulverizer doing a bit of a disco dance. Well, Major Damage comes in fairly dominant, actually. There goes the axe. I don't think the axe is really doing much, although Pulverizer now in the wall. Major Damage pushing, and Pulverizer, well, the blade spinning. Is Pulverizer okay? No, they're being counted out. And that's a great victory there for Major Damage. The Dutch champions are gone. Pulverizer out of the competition, and Major Damage spinning in the light. Well, fair play to them. They deserved it.
Cease.
Poor Pulverizer. Back to the drawing board. Commiserations to the Dutch. They are out. The US boys go through with Major Damage. And next up, Crustation and Ziggy. From South Africa, Crustation. Crusher. An invertible crab design that has one of the most unique weapon setups I have ever seen in my life. The way the claws work is that when the controller, or actually operator, closes their hand wearing special gloves, the claws themselves close as well. That is extremely unique and extremely amazing. However, despite the amazingness, it's invertible, which is a plus, but the little caster at the back on both sides up can cause it to get snagged on either our flame pit or the pit of oblivion, meaning just one nudge and they're out. From Canada, Ziggy Flipper. A super heavyweight robot armed with a launcher as well as a 6-wheel drive system. The gas supply on this machine is limited, but while it has the gas supply, the Flipper is extremely dangerous. It will launch you into the air, and if you're unfortunate It will even disable your machine.
Robot ears, stand by.
Crustacean with the crushing claws, and Ziggy with the launcher and six-wheel drive.
3,
2,
1, go.
Ziggy, I should also point out, is a super heavyweight robot. So Crustacean definitely gonna have to work count out for them. Although, having said that, they're doing a great job pushing them towards the pit and nearly had Ziggy in there. That's quite impressive. I think the one major downside towards Crustacean, though, is control. It's not the simplest to control. It's a little bit tricky, but for the most part, well, is Ziggy okay? Sorry, just something what I was just saying a minute ago, because, well, Ziggy being launched up onto the spike, but is there a problem with Ziggy? Because I'm not seeing much drive, and they seem to be driving away back onto the spike, and now roly-poly up and over. Now Ziggy, yes, can self-right, and now pushing away a Crustacean. But look at this here, the spike throwing Ziggy on top of Crustacean. That's how they got them up and over. Now the question is, can Ziggy capitalize? Nope, they seem to be stuck in the wall. While Crustacean, they might want to be careful of the flame pit, because their caster can get stuck in the grill. And I think that's the least of their worries. In fact, I'm not even sure they need to worry, because there's a problem with Crustacean. Where's the drive? And Crustacean, despite only being a heavyweight, is pushing the super heavyweight robot really well here. And is very determined. They're not giving up. Ziggy, however, I think have problems. And I think have broken down. Well, that's a shame. I expected a lot from them. And it's a bit sad that their flipper didn't work. It fired right from the start. It got stuck up there. Which is a shame, but well, they're going to have to fix that for next time, won't they? Meanwhile, Ziggy. I feel like Ziggy's got... You know what, seeing Crustacean ramp up on Ziggy is quite entertaining. But this will be the end for Ziggy. Eventually, once Crustaceans got them in the pit, they've nearly got them down. And Ziggy, very, very close. Very close. The super heavyweight runner-up about to go down in the pit. One final nudge from Crustacean should be enough. Well, I don't think that was intentional, but now into the pit. And that's Ziggy gone. The Canadians are out of it. And Crustacean progress on through for South Africa. A great victory there for Crustacean. They go through. Ziggy unfortunately crash out. This is how the quarterfinals looks. The English against the Czech, which is Chaos 2 against Kilohertz. Freewave, the Welsh against the Japanese in Yovatono. Australia against USA in the form of Destructron and Major Damage. And the Kiwis with Endgame against the South Africans and Crustation.
Robot ears, stand by.
Chaos 2 with the flipper, formidable. And Kilohertz, surprisingly, made it this far.
2, 1.
The reason why I say surprisingly is because of the fight with Dior, where they nearly lost. And I think they will here, and up and over. And that might just spell doom and gloom for Kilohertz, although they can right themselves. And now Chaos 2, stuck. And there's an attack from Kilohertz on the Chaos 2. Meanwhile, Chaos 2 trying to right themselves. Well, this is interesting. That glare on Kilohertz is annoying. Please deal with that, Chaos 2. Thank you. Or Kilohertz. It's like weird robot ballet. Well, Kilohertz. Up and over. Flipped. Again. And where is the Shremek from Kilohertz? There it is. I wonder where that was going to show up. And now, both players will have to be careful here. They're near the pit, and that's it! And Kilohertz are gone! Down the pit of oblivion! And Chaos 2 progresses through to the semi-finals of the first World Championship. Kilohertz. Well, Kilohertz trying to get out of the pit. I commend you for trying. You're not going to. You're really not. Chaos 2 firing the flipper needlessly. What is Kilohertz doing? And more to the point, what's up with Chaos 2? They're not moving! And they flip themselves over. Okay, they've separated. Okay, what is Kilohertz doing? Well, trying to get out the pit, obviously. But what's up with Chaos 2? Has the drive gone? It went before in the main competition. It went in the fight against Janky Shanky. It went in the fight against Gnome 2. It went in that fight against Razor. And I think it's gone again. The flipper can have the move, but there's a limited gas supply on Chaos 2. So, why is this fight still going? I mean, we know who's won. It's Chaos 2. Are we waiting to see if Kilohertz can make it out of the pit? Okay, I'm game. Let's see if they can. Meanwhile, Chaos 2 flips himself up and over once again. Progressing towards the floor flipper. Why? Okay, I guess. That was a pathetic flip from the floor flipper. Kilohertz. It's very entertaining trying to see Kilohertz flip themselves out of the pit. And now they're up and over once again. Lovely. Oh, they've done it! They've gone out! Well, that's a first, I think, in Robot Wars. They've self-righted out of the pit. Look at this. In beautiful style. Just as Chaos 2 flips themselves up and over. Now, will Kilohertz take advantage? No, not like there's a reason to. Kilohertz already out. But I do think there's a problem with Chaos 2. That's some serious work they've got to fix. And you know what? Despite their loss, I'd have thought Kilohertz would try and capitalize, but I think there's a problem with the drive. They're not driving strongly. They had trouble before as well. We knew there would be trouble. But look at this. Well, that's the spikes. There you go. And now, trying to right themselves. And Chaos 2 have run out of CO2 now. They can't right themselves. Kilohertz up. Stay away from the spike. Well, Kilohertz may be standing tall. They may be standing upright and mobile. But, yeah, I said stay away from the spike. Chaos 2 is going to have some serious repairs for them down in the pits. Refill the CO2 gas tank. Kilohertz getting buffeted by the spike. Get away from that. Oh, great. Chaos 2 through nonetheless. An amazing feat by Kilohertz to get out of the pit nonetheless. But it's Chaos 2 who goes through for England. Next up, it's Freewave against Yovotono.
Roboteers, stand by.
The flipper of the Welsh machine, Freewave, and the lethal spinning weapon of the Japanese, and Yovotono.
3,
It's going to be a very interesting fight, I think.
1. Activate.
So who, well, there's Yovotono. Immediately, what's that that's come out of Freewave? There, the titanium sparks! And there's Yovotono upright. Not really seen a flip from Freewave. And is there a problem with the drive? I think there is. There's a flip. And had that landed in the pit, Freewave would have gone through. But it didn't. And now Freewave's up on the backside. And they're stuck, I think. The weapon's not working. I think surprised! And Yono didn't really have to do much in this fight, did they? In fact, I think it was over almost right from the start. Yono, the clear winners, free wave, heading back to the Welshlands. How about that? No trouble at all for Yono. They go through, free wave are out, and next up it's the Aussies with Destructron against the Yanks with major damage.
Roboteers, stand by.
The Americans and major damage with their long axe, and the Aussies and Destructron with the everything.
2, 1. Activate.
And major damage, definitely the faster of the two, far more nippy, and definitely the far superior pushing power. And there goes major damage's axe. Now, is that really doing anything to Destructron? It might be, I don't know. But from the looks of it, it doesn't really seem to be doing anything. It could just be hitting the side. That'll probably do something to major damage. The front spike. Now Destructron coming in with their axe, which doesn't seem to have all that much power in it. Let's be real. But there, Destructron being pushed again by major damage. And look at how high they've been pushed up. And this is all major damage here. And now, major damage. Well, in comes Destructron with their axe and spike. Destructron, I think, is a little bit perplexed here. Major damage, hello. Where have they gone? Is major damage okay? Probably not right now, they're on the flames. And Destructron might want to get away from there as well. And I think Destructron is a little bit perplexed here because major damage were dominating the fight and have all of a sudden stopped working. What's happened here? Where has major damage gone? Destructron edging them onto the pit. Well, the floor flipper actually. I've got a feeling the pit will be coming into play. The axe is down. There's no life left in major damage. And that's a shame. They were doing so well. They beat Pulverizer. And now Destructron to dispatch of the Yanks. And down into the pit they go. That's the end of major damage. They're out of this competition. Destructron go through for Australia to the semi-finals. I don't think Destructron can overly believe it. Neither can major damage. Poor major damage. What happened to them? Well done to Destructron for going through. Next up, Endgame and Crustation.
Roboteers, stand by.
Endgame with the spinning disc. And Crustation with those grabbing pincers.
3,
2, 1. Activate.
Who will come out on top of this one? Well, is Crustation okay? They seem a little bit not fully okay. Get away from the pit and collide into the wall near the flames. Is Crustation okay? Well, they're up and over now. That won't really impede them. They can drive both ways up. Right now, I'd have to call this Endgame. Although, having said that, Endgame up and over. Now they can solve right, no problem. And Crustation in trouble here. There, and down the pit. And out goes Crustation. Endgame through to the semi-finals. I'm trying to figure out what that attack was, but, I've got nothing. Endgame through. Yeah, no idea what that was, but whatever it was, Endgame heads on through. Crustation, sadly, commiserations to them. So the semifinals is as thus. The two spinners, Yono from Japan and Endgame from New Zealand, will be fighting each other. But first up, it's the English in Chaos 2 against the Australians with Destructron.
Roboteers, stand by.
Chaos 2 with the flipper, very powerful, and Destructron, who I fear might be very much outclassed.
3, 2, 1. Go.
But it's an axe. It might prove to be very beneficial. Not against Chaos 2 though, from the side. And there's an attack again, nearly at the arena. And now, what's happened to Chaos 2? Why are they not moving? That's why! The flipper's stuck! It's stuck on the wall! They can't drive! They're immobilized! They're both immobilized! How'd that happen?
Cease.
We're gonna have to do a rematch here! That's a first!
Roboteers, stand by. Three,
3,
2,
2,
1.
1. Go.
Here we go again. Now, both being a bit more KG, but Chaos 2 still the stronger and up and over. And this will be the end of Destructron, especially with that assault. And out the arena, and Chaos 2 through to the grand final of the championship. Well done. Commiserations to the Aussies. Our first grand finals of the first World Championships, Chaos 2, and who of these two will be joining them, Endgame or Yovotono?
Roboteers, stand by.
And this ought to be a very interesting fight. A bit of a grudge match as well. Endgame and Yovotono, they fought before in the grand finals of the main competition.
3, 2, 1.
So, who is stronger? Well, Yovotono has the... Well, who's won this exactly? Over in literally 4 seconds, and they're both in the pit of oblivion at the same time. I think that's gotta be... Yes! Caesar's called! That's another rematch!
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1.
That's the second rematch we've had in a row. Now, Endgame trying to be wary, and that's a good attack on Yovotono. And again, driving around Yovotono, and Endgame's gone! They're gone, they're out! Yovotono through! Look at this! Driving around Yovotono, there's titanium sparks, and Endgame, they've gone flying out! So, it'll be England versus Japanese. Don't fling yourself into the wall, Yovotono. You gotta fight Chaos 2 next. Aish. Don't do any more damage to yourself than what's already been done to you. But yeah, Endgame gone. They are out. Meaning the grand finals is as follows. Chaos 2 from England against Yovotono of Japan. Our first world champion will be crowned here.
Roboteers, stand by.
The final showdown, Chaos 2 of England and Yovotono of Japan.
3, 2, 1.
Whoever wins this will be crowned the first world champion, and Chaos 2 already in trouble, but getting a good flip on Yovotono. But now Chaos 2 flung into the wall, and they might be in trouble here. I feel... No! Yovotono's out! Chaos 2 has won the title! Well, how about that? Look at this! Pushing Chaos 2, and they're in the pit! I don't think that wasn't Yovotono's plan! Chaos 2, the victor! I think that drive's gone again! It makes no difference! Chaos 2, winner for England!
And so another great war is over. To our fallen competitors, it's back to the drawing board for next time as our champions stand tall with the trophy in their hands. That's not to say that it'll stay in their hands for long. But until then, just when you think that the world is yours, another will fight you for it. On Robot Wars, goodbye.